All right, YouTube fans, another Sunday means another opportunity for you to hang out with four studs.
Boom,
I am in
studs.
love with TSG, Pooh Bear, and the Chief. The Buccaneers get their first playoff victory since the Super Bowl. Pro Bowl selections made this week. No fans for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Rest in peace, Tommy Lasorda. And his 2021 trying to outdo 2020. All of this more, you don't want to miss it. This is the main event. Yo.
What's up, guys?
Victory!
How much fun was that game last night?
I haven't had that much fun. We talked yesterday morning as we were going out to shoot some sporting clays. How excited! Like, we hadn't been that excited for a football game since.
You got to qualify that. Every time you do that, you need to qualify that it was a shotgun. By the way,
I apologize. We were talking about it was like the most anticipated game since Tom Brady's first start as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It lived up to it.
Yeah, it did. That was fantastic. Good night, good food, good company. Just a good day all around. Yeah, you mentioned we started off little breakfast, went to Sporting Clays and shot some clay pigeons.
Dude, is anybody else? My shoulder is still sore, by the way. I'm
not mine.
Well, you were swinging a hammer. You were swinging a hammer. Hey, before we get started anymore on this, go ahead and take the opportunity right now to go ahead and subscribe to this channel. We have some exciting things coming in 2021 you don't want to miss. And also a very hearty get well to our friend Paulie, guest the show a few weeks ago. Apparently he has come down with some something funky. So get better, Paulie. Love you, buddy.
Javier's here.
Javier checking in. There he is. Good morning, Javi. How you feeling after last night?
Let's get into it. What's number one on the list? Let's go.
Let's go. Let's
talk about the Bucs game. I mean, what was y'all's was the game closer than you thought it was going to be?
Yes, for me, for sure.
Backup quarterback. Our defense did not look great. I mean, we have a history of making backup quarterbacks look like Pro Bowlers. And I'm going to tell you, man, we did it again last night.
Yep.
So
here's the thing I'll say, though, Chief, to that is, I mean, listen, when did we find out that we were not going to have Alex Smith? I mean, we game planned all week. The defense game planned all week for Alex Smith being the starting quarterback, who there was plenty of tape on for the season. Nobody's ever seen or heard of Hinkie. And
he had one start earlier this year.
I think we found out on Friday he was going to be the starting quarterback on Saturday. It's a little hard to game plan for that when there's not a lot of film on him.
Yeah.
So what I saw was that on the defensive front, we were sending four people, pretty regularly. We weren't over blitzing this guy like we have been blitzing in the past, which means there should have been a lot of guys in coverage, and these receivers were pretty wide open. So, I mean, to Hinkie's credit, man, he was putting the ball out there. He's putting it on target. But I didn't see defenders, really in position to break up passes, and in some cases to even make a tackle immediately after the catch.
Yeah, there's definitely some poor defensive secondary play, but we've seen that all year. It's not anything new for the Buccaneers. So as far as the game plan goes, I think the Washington football team's execution was just better in that sense. They still maintain their same offensive strategy. There was just a different person running the offense. I don't know how much that affected the Bucs defense, but I think it was just like Chief brought up, this team has a history of making backup quarter. Matter of fact, one of the most memorable ones happened in Washington back when they were known by their other name. When was it Nick Foles? No, not Nick Foles. The guy that said Kirk Cousins. You like that? That happened because he was a backup quarterback coming in and just torched the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Well, and this is what happens when you've got an unfamiliar guy, that no one's got scouting on. I mean, we've seen many players come into the league and do real well in their first year, and then scouting, happens with all the rest of the teams that they get a year of tape or whatever it might be, and then they start figuring out how to play these guys. And the fact that he could run like he was pretty fast.
He did.
That surprised us, and I think that allowed them to get some extra first downs that they normally would not have gotten unless because what's his name doesn't run the ball. I mean,
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. He's not.
Here's a good point from Javi coming up right here is not having Devin White. It's 100% true. Devin White is the cog on that defensive linebacker core.
He's the leading tackler on the team.
He is, and Mintner has been his replacement, and there's just a step down there. There's just not the athleticism is just not the same.
Hey, we did win the game though, and on the offensive side of the ball, where the first thing that I noticed, and I made a point of this last night, you get a ball, you get a ball, you get a ball. I mean, we saw the ball going to Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Godwin, Scotty Miller was in there.
Brayton was the number 2 receiver on the night.
Brayton is great. These guys, they moved the ball, and I really think that Washington was. Who do you cover? I mean, that is the thing that we were looking forward to at the beginning of the season, talking about all the weapons that we have. And then, we saw it with that first touchdown pass to Antonio Brown. I mean, that cat was wide open.
Yeah. I think I saw somewhere today that was Tom Brady's longest touchdown pass in the playoffs ever.
Wow.
Does that surprise you guys?
Yes, it does.
I heard a crazy stat this morning as well that Tom Brady has now beaten more teams in the playoffs than any other quarterback has playoff wins.
Wow.
He's beaten 17 teams, individual teams, and that is more that nobody has more than 17 playoff game wins. That's what
happens when you're father time too, Well, you also got to make the playoffs every year too. But how about Leonard Fournette? Leonard Fournette goes for almost 100 yards yesterday, and Rojo was out, unavailable. But man, Fournette looked really strong. Thank you very much, Jacksonville.
Yeah, how about it?
Our line opened up some big holes there, and that's been, once Fournette gets a head of steam going, he does pretty well. Rojo's quite a bit better at finding tight seams. He's a better running back.
He's more elusive.
Yeah, but Fournette does have speed, and once he gets through that hole and he gets that head of steam going, he's tough to bring down. And we saw that yesterday. So the line stepped up, and he stepped up. No fumbles so he protected the ball, and it was a 1-to-1 matchup on the turnover margins. So we did, we won that or tied that battle. The team didn't make, too many mistakes. And listen, beating any NFL team is hard, especially in the playoffs. It's a whole different ball of wax. And Washington's been playing really well the last part of the season. It's a good win for us. It's a good warm-up game, I think. I do think we should have won by more than that, but I do think that the quarterback thing, him being able to run, snuck up on us. And
I have a theory I want to run by you guys.
I don't have conspiracy theories.
I don't have anything at all to back this up. It's just a theory, and
even better.
Okay, so we score too fast. Our scoring drives are too fast, and that's why we're in tight games a lot. I'm hypothesizing. Because let's be honest, our defense isn't the greatest, right? Mm-hmm. And it always seems like until late in the game is when we start to pull away. But we allow teams to stay in it, and I think it's because we score fast.
I've got the possession that you asked for, Chief. It's 31-12 to 28-48. So we won the battle 31 minutes to 28.
Yeah. So I feel there's something I think you're right about, I mean, I don't know that you tell a team, don't score when you have the opportunity to score.
I know.
It's about offense, in the end, it's about
offense
points.
So prolific,
yeah,
that it scores quickly or is 3 and out quickly. I don't know, but I think about some of those early touchdowns. Some of them were 2 minutes of possession, touchdown. 3 minutes of possession, touchdown.
Yeah, you're not giving your already weakened defense time to get refreshed, maybe even strategize. They're not just resting on the sideline; they're strategizing. They're looking at images and film, trying to get a feel for what's going wrong, if there is something going wrong, and what can they do better, who's in position, who's out of position. So if they don't have time to do all that and listen to the defensive coach and coordinator, then that's possible.
I think it depends what team you're playing too. You start playing a team that's got better defense and you have to dink and dunk a little more down the field than we had to do with Washington. I actually thought they were going to be a little harder, because that Chase Young didn't get any sacks.
Correct.
He ran that mouth though, man.
No, he did.
And here's something I did notice. They let Gronkowski help out wherever Chase Young was on that side most of the time.
And that's why he had no catches. He had 0
correct.
catches. Yeah.
Right. Okay. He is a much better blocker than Brate. So I think that was part of using him to double team Chase Young and also the Sweat, the other end, who's also very good. So I think they were doing that to protect Tom Brady, give him more time. That limits your passing game, which has been a huge part of this offense. So there's something to be said about all that. I think that's all true. It looks like the Saints are going to go on to victory here. And we have a comment here about if the Bucs do play the Saints, which seems to be the case, how much different is it going to be with Drew Brees and Michael Thomas?
Well, I don't. The interesting thing, we were talking in the green room before we went live here, that the Saints that we were watching play right now, we would love to see next week.
Right? They weren't playing great.
They didn't necessarily look great. Well, they scored on their last possession. They're on the 2-yard line right now, so. We want the first half Saints.
Yeah.
Whatever the Bears did in the first half or in the first 3 quarters of this game, we need to pay attention and do that.
They got pressure. They had I watched some of that game, and they had someone in his face. They found pressure a lot, and that's on that first half. That was their problem.
Well,
Matthew. The answer to Matthew Carlson's question is we're going to have to, we can't make mistakes. We're going to have to come out and we're going to have to make a much better start on the Saints. You can't fall behind on them by 2 touchdowns.
Well, like the way we did on Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
They're so bad.
Their defense is too good. So as long as they're smart and they dink and dunk and play possession ball down there and get a score, get our offense going, and just hit the open receiver. Don't try and force the ball to anyone, because this defense, they will make you pay for stuff like that. So if they play smart, and we can hang with these guys if we our offense comes out successful.
Agreed. And I'm worried. My worry is that the Buccaneers mentality, having been beaten by the Saints quite a bit over the past couple of seasons, is it a mental block?
We're 0 for the last 4.
Yeah, is it a bugaboo? You know what I mean? Is it something? It's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in a single season, right? So that would be the Saints beating the Bucs. They've already beat them twice. Having to win that 3rd game is very difficult. It's doable, but it's difficult because the other team usually learns. So I mean, I've got confidence that the Bucs can learn, but man, just
I got an idea.
Okay.
You know that thing that you do, Pooh Bear, every time the opposing kicker kicks?
I do.
What if you did that every time Drew Brees dropped back?
I'd probably be worn out.
I'm not watching a game with him. I'm out.
I'm looking for any strategy that could work here. That one seems pretty solid.
Maybe it hasn't worked the past couple times. It only worked in the Vikings game, really. If we think about it, and so may have cost that guy his job.
You got something, Chief? Were you?
Nah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, it's
so go ahead.
no. I'm about to change subject. So
Oh, hang on. So we got to talk about a couple of things. One, the kicker, 13 points. In our past, with our kicking problems, our kicking woes that we've had, this Suck Up was excellent yesterday. He gave us a lot of points. I was looking at the stats and I'm going, wait, where are the touchdowns? I thought there were more touchdowns. And but there was one rushing and only 2 passing touchdowns, and the rest were all the kicker. He made all 13 points. That's a lot.
He did miss an extra point, or got one blocked.
it was blocked.
And,
Yeah.
Blocked.
And I actually, Pat, he hasn't looked well the last couple of weeks. Suck Up. He had an
one bad game.
He had an amazing streak of field goals made, and since he missed one, he's been. I'm not saying he's not high percentage still, but he's missed some extra points and some kicks since then. And I think the other side of that is, like, we got to quit leaving points on the field.
Yeah.
3 field goals to me is 3 touchdowns you should have had. Even if you got one of those 3 as touchdowns, one of those 3 possessions turned into a touchdown instead of a field goal, it makes a huge difference.
It's a more convincing victory.
Look at the last 2 games, not the playoff game yesterday, but the 2 before that. We left a lot of touchdowns on the field in both of those games too.
I think that success against the Saints, is going to come down to leadership. It's going to come down to Antonio Bryant, Tom Brady, and the Gronk saying, been there, done that. It's going to come down to this team putting their faith in Bruce Arians, Super Bowl winning coach. We have got the experience on the team to make this happen, and just people have to do it. If they believe, it can happen.
Yeah, I agree, Chief. Remember when Gruden came in, and you could tell these guys all bought in to what Gruden was selling that year. He came in, and he gave them a little bit of offense, and everyone has got to be on the same page, and they believed, and they took it, and they won it finally. They got over the hump. They beat Philadelphia. Are the Saints going to be like that for us now? The Saints, are they the the Philadelphia that we had back then, trying to beat those guys because they're really good? I don't know if we can beat them. I mean, they're really tough. I mean, of course you can beat them, but we're going to have a really good day, and like you said, we're all going to have to believe. But when you got guys like Sean Murphy Bunting, though, that guy's, every time I see somebody getting burnt, it's him. That guy gets burnt a lot. What do you guys think about Sean Murphy Bunting? Is that what you're seeing?
I think it's more of a scheme situation.
Yeah.
We're not seeing any press coverage. We're seeing a lot of zone. By the way, I'm going to be opposed to this right here. Bring back Tampa 2 because Drew Brees, a quarterback that knows the Tampa 2 and can pick it apart with those 12, 14-yard passes. So I'm going to say no, not to the Tampa 2. But I would like to see some press coverage. What I'd really like to see, press coverage, bring the safeties in just a little bit, and let's send 4 or 5. You got to send 5 guys, every play. Put the pressure on them. Get their timing off. I watched Drew today. Man, that guy knows exactly who wants to throw the ball every single time. I mean, he's truly a professional quarterback.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this, talking about the blitz, Chief, is, we have been a huge blitzing team this year. I think the stat was something like 65% of passing downs we blitz on. The last couple of games, I don't think the number's been that high. Do you think that's an adjustment to teams starting to figure out how to pick apart that Tampa blitz?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you're sending 5-6 guys on a blitz, if you're sending 6, you've only got 5 guys in coverage. I mean, there's gaping holes in your defense when you do that. So yeah, people are, if we're blitzing and we're not getting there, and he knows where he wants to go with the ball, like Drew Brees will. If the receiver is there where Drew believes his receiver is supposed to be, that's where some contact on the line of scrimmage comes into play, because it throws the receiver timing and location off when Drew wants to throw the ball.
Yeah, I agree.
I was surprised they didn't blitz Hinkie as much yesterday.
Yeah, I really think that they thought that he was going to be rusty and make bad throws, and they were going to pick him off, but he wasn't. He was a good quarterback.
I agree. We got to blitz. We got to play that press coverage, bump and run. And if he burns us, a time or two on that, receiver gets by, that's all right because he's really going to burn you if you don't. You let them get that head of steam going, and they're going to start. They're just going to start ripping through us. So I agree, Chief. I think that's the only way to play them.
Well, it's too bad absolutely nothing else happened this week to talk about other than Buccaneers football. Amen. Can I get an amen?
How about a woman?
How about a woman?
Give it a woman.
Wow.
Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that in Congress this past week?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Unreal.
Do you know? Okay, that was Representative Emmanuel Cleaver. Okay, he is an ordained Methodist minister. I guess you call them ministers, and Methodist minister, and he closes the opening prayer to the 117th Congress with "Amen" or "a woman." I mean, who is it? I think he might be a moron because.
Oh yeah, so I didn't see this. So
Yeah.
we were talking about this before the show. This is the first I kind of heard of it. So like legit, like he's saying the prayer, blah, 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 blah. Amen, a woman. That's how it went down.
That's how it goes down, man. He
Yeah.
throws it out there. Like the word "amen" is some sort of gender specific.
Yeah. I mean, it means a lot of things, but it's basically just a confirmation, and you can a lot of truly, truly. It also means truly, truly, or
I've heard "so be it."
So let it be so.
There's a bunch. Let it be so. So be it. Truly, truly. It's
And the crazy thing about the word "amen" is it's almost a universal word. I mean, it's the same word in so many different languages around the globe. And it translates the same. Everybody, translates it, in a similar way. Nobody translates it as "Hey, dude" or "Hey, guy."
Right.
And I was just like, "What?" So here's the thing: if this guy's allowed to be a free thinker like that, I mean, who votes this guy in, and what other crazy ideas does he have?
Right.
Up his sleeve.
Where's he from? Where's
He's
he
from Missouri.
Well,
There
you go. There you go. It's the show me state. Somebody has to take him over to Italy and show him the original source of the word.
So my question is, has he had anything else to say after this? Like, I mean, certainly somebody has been like a congressman.
Oh, you'd be highly mistaken. You would be highly mistaken.
I got a question. I got a question, Mr. Congressman. Like, has there been a follow-up? Has he said anything since it? Like,
dude, I'm pretty sure Pelosi, Pelosi's sitting there like this, and he goes, "Hey, woman," and he goes, "That's a new one."
the sound of that.
And then she goes, and then she pulls him aside, and she goes, "You're not allowed to talk anymore."
Oh, I doubt it. I doubt it very seriously. That does not sound like something she would do. That sounds like something she would encourage.
No,
be like, yeah, we need to keep this.
No,
that's a good plan.
He's a Democrat, and the whole country's laughing at him.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't bring bad press to that.
Legit, no follow-up?
Nothing, man, nothing.
The press isn't going to ask him that.
Nothing.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, again, I hadn't really heard about it. I know you guys make fun of me all the time because, like, I don't catch much news, but I mean, maybe the events of the next day overshadowed it.
Oh my
Possibly.
God. Yeah.
Possibly.
Dude, I looked all over for one of those like buffalo hats.
Dude, I found one on eBay, and not on eBay, sorry, on Amazon. And I would have worn it tonight, but I couldn't get it here in time. It wouldn't arrive till Tuesday, so I did. Yeah. By the way, so I thought about this. Do you know what those hats reminded me of? That we're talking about Buffalo Guy, right? On the Flintstones, they had the Grand Poobah Lodge.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic. That would even be better to show with one of those things.
Yeah, there was like the Fraternal Order of the Water Buffaloes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, what did they call it? Was it the Grand Poobah? They called was he the leader?
Yes. Grand Poobah was the leader, yes.
Yes. So I was wondering, so I was looking at this, right? And I really feel there was a dress code for this. First of all, number one, a beard was required. You look at everyone in that crowd, they all had beards. Yeah. Guess who? If the main event's got to send someone, we know who we're
Not a crazy right winger.
We don't condone that. We don't condone what happened.
I'm not getting into any of that.
You needed to have some headgear. I mean, but it wasn't just any headgear. I mean, it was either you need to have a helmet, you either needed to have a hunting cap, a MAGA hat, or of course the buffalo hat. But
you had Chip Gaines stealing the speaker's desk with a beanie on.
Dude, who looks at the camera? Are you? I mean, he's like, look.
Dude's got it over his shoulder, and he's walking out waving.
Listen, first of all,
I mean, the brass huevos on these guys.
Oh, how about the guy?
I don't think any of it condones the storming of the Capitol.
No,
right?
this is not okay.
No,
it's not okay. It's not okay. But they did make some interesting choices that are kind of funny.
We could make fun of. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
They scaled the wall. They scaled the wall with a grapple hook and rope when the stairs were right there. I mean, they could have walked. It's not like the stairs were closed.
It's completely unnecessary, right?
It reminded me like of you remember the Batman series from the 60s, and they had that scene in there where they're walking up anybody ever watch that?
Yes, that was filmed horizontal.
It was filmed horizontally. And then somebody would open the window and talk to them all the time. And so and that's what I was like, what are these guys doing, man? And who brings a grappling hook to the Capitol anyway? So
some of the things that they had on them, it's amazing to me. Like, you're just allowed to carry that around in public.
I didn't see anything like that.
Well, I mean, if you've got a grappling hook,
that I get. Yeah. You're right. That's kind of crazy, but I thought you may have saw something else. I didn't see
I'm a little bit alerted when somebody's walking around with a buffalo hat in public.
Well, it's not. It's a normal.
That's somebody that you might want to stop and ask a couple questions to.
Yes, but that's a normal protest parade / rally kind of thing. Yes, you see that kind. If you go to any, parade or festivities happening in St. Pete or downtown Tampa, you're going to see people dressed very similarly.
I feel if we had it here, we would have somebody with like a gator head on, like an actual gator.
More than likely.
Florida
man.
It's like when we run in turkey trots, and there's always a guy dressed as Santa.
Yeah,
or the Grinch.
And by the way, the guy carrying the speaker's podium, he is a Florida man.
Yeah,
so proud of my state. He's probably from New York, but just moved here like everybody else.
Yeah,
but
Parish.
Yeah, he's from Parish.
I don't know. The way, we're making fun of the way they dressed or the dress code or whatever. And some of the tactics, how did they expect anybody to really take them seriously?
Well, one thing I noticed was, and again, we don't condone this, we're not glossing over the fact that I think 2 people lost their lives, right? A Capitol policeman,
4,
and one of the 4.
Yeah.
4 now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So heart attacks though, but
okay, so it wasn't directly related to the violence necessarily, correct. But okay. So obviously, I'm not a protest guy anyway. Like when it comes to, hey, we're not watching this TV show, or I'm not buying that product because of this, that, the other thing. It's never been my thing. I may have said it out of anger a couple of times.
If you remember, I grew the beard in protest of no sports on TV.
Yes.
There you go. See, so clearly B-Love is a protest guy. So that's not personally my thing, but I do understand that when a crowd gathers like that, their objective was to disrupt the vote that was taken, or the confirmation of the election. At least, again, not condoning this, at least we'd understand what their mission was, right? This protest was directly affecting the thing they were protesting. Not like some of the other protests we've seen over the past summer, where they're just randomly blowing up cars, randomly setting police cars on fire. That's not anger directed at any specific thing. You're just angry, period. So I do think that at least that part, because you can talk to, well, maybe not these idiots, but you can usually talk to someone that's pointing their aggression and aggravation at one thing.
Well, plus these guys are not, just on his point, on Pooh point. Plus, those guys don't represent. Those are extremists there.
Correct.
Guys. They don't represent the the true, nature of the Republican Party. A lot of them, the core, I don't think. And I think some of those other people also that were blowing up cars and things like that are also extremists on the other side, giving their core a bad name. So on both sides, these people are bad for everybody.
Correct. And that's one of the reasons why I choose not to kind of join any sort of protest in that sort of way.
Hey, can I ask you guys a question? Did any of you know that this type of vote is held up until this week?
Well, I knew about it this season, I'm going to say. I don't know exactly when I found out about it, but I would say, December probably people started, maybe even November, people were talking about it. So, yeah, I knew about it then, but I would not have known about it before this election season.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they affirm the Electoral College votes.
Yeah, I thought that all happened, 3 or 4 weeks ago when they counted the Electoral College votes.
Yeah. It seems like a lot of redundancy.
One thing about this whole situation, though, is that we've a lot of people have learned a lot about how government works.
Let's hope
our society needed that. They have a lot of people learned. Yeah,
you're right. There is a huge lack of civics knowledge in this country, and maybe, just maybe, some of these events and things. Well, perfect segue. One of the other pieces of news that came out this week is that Twitter, Facebook, and several other social media sites banned the president from using the platform. Okay. Is that a violation of the First Amendment? The answer is no, because it's a private company utilizing their private policy, right? That you sign up for their service. You don't pay for it. They provide the service for you, and they can cancel you at any time. Is it right? No. Is it, is there possibly some avenue of what's the phrasing with the protection under the policies of the Communications Act, right? They're benefiting from this policy or this plan that says that they're not going to be held liable for the things that are said on their platform, much like a telephone company or a cable company, but not like a newspaper or a magazine who cannot slander or incite violence or whatever. That would be illegal.
Listen, I guess I take a little bit of issue with it. Listen, I think the guy is an absolute idiot, right? I mean, he's not the greatest leader our country's ever had. I think he's probably done some decent things in office, but overall, not necessarily a good representation of the office of the President of the United States. But I do take issue with somebody trying to silence the sitting POTUS on a major media stream. I'm not saying it's ABC or CBS or whatever, but he is being silenced by a major media stream that the average American thinks that the things that they see on there are news or are the truth, right? And so I think this guy still has the nuclear launch codes, for goodness sakes, and yes. I understand the reasoning why. Right. So I'm to that degree, I'll defend that, but it is going to make me second guess media more than I do now.
See, I think that
because at any time you can just say, let me squash that.
Mm-hmm. See, I think he's pretty much silenced himself, because he's been yelling for months now with, he's saying this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Then it hasn't happened. He hasn't predicted, he hasn't brought forward any evidence of voter fraud. He hasn't, he did incite that crowd. I mean, that's definitely on him. The virus stuff, he goes rogue back in the spring, telling everybody it's going to be done by the summer. I mean, where's he getting that information from? Fauci's standing behind him going, this isn't going to be over by the summer. Don't tell people misinformation, to give us the truth. And I think he feels like he could just, wish something's better, or if he says it, it'll be true. And that's just not the way the world works. Maybe it works in Trumpville, but not in the rest of the world.
I think he's also trying to instill some hope when he says things like that. and he's just not very good at saying it in the right way. So someone like a Ronald Reagan would say, we will beat this thing hopefully by summertime. We've got the best people in place. We're going to do he was an excellent communicator with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trump still says the exact same thing, just doesn't deliver it correctly to where it comes out saying or sounding like, hey, oh yeah, I got this thing under control. Trust in me, we'll get it done. No,
yeah, but doubles down by firing people that disagree with them, and
yes,
that's a real problem.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I'm not a Trump apologist. Don't confuse that.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're talking about pandemic type stuff, you've got to be very accurate with your information, and it's got to be, it's got to come out correct. And just because Fauci doesn't agree with you, or he's not going to just say what you want him to say.
Right.
You don't fire the guy. The guy's been for how many years in every administration? He's been
there a long time. Yeah.
He's been the expert, and now all of a sudden, just because he won't say what you want him to, you're going to just fire him. The defense secretary, everybody else that he fires. But I will say this: what will happen if they didn't silence him? If Twitter doesn't take him down, and he incites another incident, maybe even worse, then what what are people saying then? Why didn't you shut him down?
Well, I mean, he's got there are safeguards in place. I mean, there really are, man. I mean,
What do you mean safeguards?
There are safeguards in place. For example, he can't just say, let's go blow up somebody, because officers in the Army and the Air Force and the Armed Services don't have to follow an illegal order. So right. He's not a tyrant. He can't just say, let's go bomb somebody, because they have an obligation to follow legal orders. Mike Pence is there for a reason. Mike Pence has the ability to remove him, from his authority, and that takes, there's like a 21-day process or something like that that it goes through, and that's very well spelled out in the Constitution for those things. So it's not up to us to police him ahead of time. He's innocent until proven guilty, like everybody else. Okay, so he just one time, he said it, and then he came back and he kind of, did his best damage control and stuff. I honestly feel though that you just don't take that and you take the president. He is the president, and you don't take it and pull the plug on the guy, for the next 10 days. He's still the president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, listen. I think that
when lives are lost, I don't think you. I mean, those lives that are lost are on him. You got some dead people here, and I'm not gonna let more stuff happen if I can prevent it. And he's clearly, I mean, they're talking about invoking the 25th.
Yeah, but what did he actually say to incite that riot?
I mean,
he said in a speech earlier that day. He said in a speech earlier that day, "Don't let them do this to us."
He said we're going to march. He did say something. He did. There were things in there that said that he incited. I mean, he basically incited. Let's go down there and let's.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone who disagrees.
Here's my overall opinion, and I've said this on this show before. This is why, to me, social media will be dead in 3 to 5 years. Because there's two things that social media has become that I think that the average consumer doesn't like. It is too much of a forum for people's opinions,
and
right? Specifically, even during politics, right? And two, it's become a platform for advertising.
Yes.
For people advertising businesses. And every time you jump on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, those are the primary two things that you get. And at some point, we're going to get tired of that because it's not being used for what it was originally intended. That's up to us, by the way. Because those companies, yes, that's up to us. And I think that's why you're starting to see all of these ancillary things come out too. They're not to compete with Twitter. They're not to compete with Facebook. Those are giants.
Big tech has already taken a step towards that. They've removed Parler, which is supposed to be this new up and coming, completely open free speech platform, social media style. that has now been removed from both Google Play Store and the iTunes Store because Apple and Google said, we don't like what you're saying. You're too open. So again, now you have the people that are in control controlling what is being said. And to me, that's where I have the problem. Yes, it is their right as a company, but as Matt says here, they are becoming public utilities. This is something that the public depends on, like they do water or power or other things, the internet and the access to information. And eventually, someone's going to pass legislation that's going to hold these big tech companies accountable for what their actions are.
I don't know what you guys expected to see here in 2021, but what we're seeing is 2020 turning the legal drinking age at now 21, and this is what you get.
Hey, y'all watch. Hey, y'all watch this. Hold my beer.
Watch this. Watch this.
This is what happens.
The best Facebook post I saw this week was somebody posting that, would your customers, something, I'm not going to get exactly, but something about, would your customers do business with your Facebook post? Right. And I think people need to start, keep your mouth shut.
Well, and I think that there's a dangerous part of some of these social media sites, and that's that evil people that, and I'm not talking about one side or the other. I'm all of it. All right. But there's evil people out there who know that they can utilize these sites to spread misinformation on whichever side. And they can make it look so real, and they make these articles, they cut people's faces out and put another one in, and
the deep fakes.
They make it look so legit, right? And then it comes across someone's Facebook Messenger or whatever it comes through, whatever social media site, and
they believe it to be true.
They believe it to be true. The common ham and egger doesn't go and fact check stuff. A lot of guys do. I do. I fact check almost everything, but it takes so much time, and a lot of people do not have that kind of time to do that. So if it already fits along with kind of their agenda or the side that they're looking for, and they want to agree with it, they're going to agree with it. They're not everyone's looking for the truth.
It's called confirmation bias.
Yeah. Hey, but on a positive note, I now have a business opportunity that I wouldn't have gotten into without Facebook. And that's because there's a Saudi prince out there that needs to move $500 billion into the country. And he's asked me to help him do it.
Of all people.
That sounds exciting.
And I said, how lucky am I? I know it. I'm going to get rich.
I also took upon myself to start a new job opportunity where I'm now working from home. I'm making $30,000 a week, and it's amazing. And all you have to do is just send out memes. It's great.
Send out memes. Okay.
Wow. All right, let's move on. Let's
roll it.
A couple of things. Some quick hit topics. So we talked last week about the kickoff of the NHL season and the Tampa Bay Lightning. We got a visitor. Look at this guy.
This kid, man.
Hey, man, your ninja skills are not very good. Not a very good ninja, Andrew. So now they announced that there will be no fans.
I don't understand that.
There's fans for the football games.
Yeah. I don't understand why they cannot do something similar to I mean, you can go to a movie now. I haven't been to a movie, but you can go to a movie, be socially distanced and everything else. Why can't you go to see the Rays? I wonder, if there's a cost involved, with opening up the stadium, and there's a break-even point to where they need to have visitors. Yeah.
Well, they have to do other things like cleaning out the restrooms every 15, 20 minutes, sanitizing the checkout lines and stuff like that. You've got all the shops that are going to be open. Yeah. So there's a lot of additional personnel they are required to use to fit the CDC guidelines. So maybe that's part of it. And maybe it's just a matter of, hey, we don't want to mislead anybody into thinking that we're not that, we're trying to skirt the rules or something. I think they're just being overly cautious and, abundantly cautious.
Listen, how many fans show up to a Rays game anyway? You can socially distance easy.
Whoa, easy, buddy. Easy, buddy.
I mean, here's the thing. Listen, I know this is gonna sound stupid, and I wasn't going to their first home game anyway. But like, they were Stanley Cup champions.
Yes.
And you're missing an opportunity. It's like I remember in 2009 when we raised the pennant at Tropicana Field.
Oh, okay. I was going somewhere different.
That is an experience I will never ever forget. That opening day.
Javi will forget it because he was asleep.
I have a picture.
He fell asleep.
Was that year?
That was that year, man.
I believe so.
Nachos on his chest.
Wait,
and
you said Stanley Cup champions, and then we were talking baseball. Which
he's saying the Lightning are going to open up here next week as the Stanley Cup this week as Stanley Cup champions with no fans in the stadium. That game would have been 16,000 people sellout inside the Emily Arena.
They always sell out every game anyway.
He's equating missing out on the experience to an experience that we shared together back in 2009 when the Rays returned from their first World Series appearance to raise the banner for the AL champions.
I feel like the Lightning might be jinxed a little bit because the last time they won the Stanley Cup, the season was it was the strike season.
Yeah, boycotted. Yeah,
they're going to look quite different. Stamkos is back; he'll be on that line where Kucherov was, and Kucherov's going to be out. It's going to be much more difficult without him in there. That guy's amazing. So it'll look a little different.
They're actually scrimmaging right now, by the way.
Yeah.
So when's their first game?
Wednesday. 13th.
Hey, do y'all know who have a game tomorrow night?
Tomorrow
night is the national championship college football game.
Yeah, I did kind of forget about that.
We need to make some picks on that.
Okay.
Alabama versus Ohio
State.
Yeah, Ohio State, whatever.
And it's the Ohio State.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Right.
So, you just want to run through the picks real quick, or has anybody got a comment on it?
I got no comment. I'm surprised Ohio State's there. I didn't think they were going to upset Clemson, but they did. So
they did it pretty handily too.
Yeah,
which I didn't think was going to happen either.
Hey, when you're a freshman, only playing 5 games throughout the year. I mean,
wicked bad.
I don't think they're wrong.
Yeah.
No, he's not wrong. But, hey, they're there. So, again, I think Alabama is the better team. But in the interest of keeping things interesting, I'm going to pick Ohio State.
You and Javi are going to go Ohio State. I'm going to write you down there.
I know. Javi's got Ohio Star.
Yeah, well.
That would be Johnny Manziel, the Ohio Star.
Pooh Bear and Javi.
Did you guys see Johnny Manziel's going to play football again?
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Where's he going?
Back.
Johnny football.
The new football league
that'll last the season.
Yeah, exactly.
With no fans.
No.
B-Love, who you got?
I don't see how you can go against Alabama.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going Forrest Gump.
The way I just said it, to keep it interesting, that's the only way to do it.
TSG?
I'm Bama.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama looks like a complete team up and down.
Yeah. I'm going Alabama as well, mainly because I vacation there every year. So
I mean, their defense is not quite as good this year, but they're saying this might be the best Bama team they've ever had.
That's saying a lot right there. So
I mean, Mac Jones is a fantastic quarterback. They've got the Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver. I mean, they're a great team.
Staying on college football for just a second, do you see who Marshall is targeting for the new head coach?
Marshall.
We are
who?
Their former star quarterback and
Byron
our
Leftwich?
Offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he going to take Randy?
That would be a bad move for them.
So is he going to take Randy Moss as the offensive coordinator?
I don't know, man. But let's say he does go. Let's say he does go. It could have a real tumble effect here because is Tom Brady going to stick around to learn an offense with a new offensive coordinator for 1 year?
Tom already committed yesterday that he was coming back for next season.
Yeah, but that's when he thought Brian Leftwich was going to be here. So I don't know, man. Dan Mullen talking about leaving the University of Florida, going into the NFL after 9 of his players didn't participate in a bowl game. He's like, if they're not going to play for me, why should I coach for them?
About it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got roasted, not just for losing the game, but for actually saying. I mean, it was kind of an excuse, but it's true. He says, "How can I compete against the number 6 team in the country when 9 of my starters don't show up?" And he's constantly and here's the deal with college football today: you're constantly re-recruiting your own guys because it's like, well, they get upset about something and they're like, well, I'm going to go to the transfer portal. And so there you go.
Portal, and they've made it too easy.
Yeah.
It used to be you had to give up a year eligibility to make a transfer.
Right.
Well, you had to sit out a year too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you gave eligibility, but you definitely sat out.
Yeah, sat out a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Troy Aikman style.
Now you just be like, hey, I'm gonna go over here a little bit. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chief, I cannot let this pass. I got to make sure that you saw. But did you see in the NBA last night that the youngest player in the history of the league got a triple-double?
You know what? I didn't see that. If I didn't see that for 2 reasons. Number one, it happened last night, and I was watching the Buccaneers last night. Number two, because it was in the NBA. So those are 2 things.
Where's your cutout? He said the word NBA. I was waiting for Chief's cutout.
Oh man, it's right here. I got it. But
He
said it was going to be quick.
How come Tampa gets an NBA team come to play here with the Toronto Raptors, and they're absolutely terrible?
2 years ago they were the NBA champions.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, they're not good right now. All right, it is official. The Buccaneers are going to be headed to New Orleans to play Sunday at 6:40. So Sunday right in the middle of the show.
Oh man!
All right,
we're gonna pre-record.
That happened.
That
pre-record.
Yeah, that's gonna be a Saturday. We'll probably do a Saturday show for you guys and post that. We are not going to be doing that at my house.
Yeah, I would say we record the Sunday show on Saturday.
Yep,
and it's just recorded. I'm not missing that game.
This gives us a chance to add Chef Javi and put. We've been talking about him doing a little a cooking bit. We can give it a trial.
That would require me editing Sunday morning.
Oh, you can do it, like on Wednesday. You can even do it tomorrow if he wants. He can just set up his little
6:40 is an odd time for a game.
It is an odd time.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? It's not prime time, and it's not the night. So Bucks have a chance.
Hey, and no cold weather, Chief.
Nope.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal for us.
Yeah, that is a big deal. All right, so do you want me to give you any more NBA news?
I can't imagine there is any more NBA news.
I can't imagine there's any.
I feel like we've covered it all.
I can't tell you who the player was. I don't know the guy's name. I just know that the youngest ever.
Why is him going to Checkers to get some hamburgers a topic of discussion is what I want to know.
Who? What?
You said something about triple doubles.
Yeah.
Did they come with fries? I don't know.
Dude, one of these days we got to have a serious discussion on this show about fast food fries. I think people would like that.
I would. That's
a good top 5.
That's a good topic for the show that we're going to record.
Yeah. We could actually have some samples and try them and talk about them.
Oh, yeah. This is getting even better. All right.
I like it.
We got one topic left.
Tommy Lasorda.
Lasorda.
Bless his soul.
We attended the last baseball game with Tommy Lasorda.
We were at the last baseball game. And what was the guy, 93 years old?
93, man. That's not a bad life.
I don't want to be going to work when I'm 93, by the way.
But I don't think he was working, was he?
Yeah, I don't think he was. He's just kind of like a mascot at this point.
No, I'm more Dodgers royalty,
Right. So. Which is funny because some of his funniest moments involved him attacking mascots. The San Diego Chicken and the Philly Fanatic.
Yes.
The one of my favorite things. No, I'm not Javi. Sorry, Javi's texting me. This guy. One of my favorite things about growing up with baseball, they had the This Week in Baseball, right? It was a Saturday morning show. This was before ESPN, before Fox Sports, before any of the, compilation sports shows. This was the compilation sports show. This was how I knew what was happening in the baseball world. And it was always, there's funny bloopers and things. And, when things like when Jose Canseco had the ball bounce off his head and go over the fence, that was on that show, things like that. And the Philly Fanatic and the San Diego Chicken, who I probably never would have heard about or known about had it not been for shows like that, were mainstays. Their antics during the week got them onto the show during the highlights. And Tommy Lasorda would always mix it up with those guys, and they'd make the show. It was fantastic.
Dude, I feel like Tommy Lasorda would have been fun to hang out with.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he was fun. Tommy Lasorda. You know what I like about Tommy Lasorda? Like the Slim Fast commercials he did, man.
Yeah.
Maybe because I could identify with it. I don't know, man. But
it's a bit like Oprah doing the diet thing. Like she never got slim.
Right.
Tommy Lasorda never got slim.
No.
But he can make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, he was a fighter, man. He never gave up.
That's right.
He's always in. So.
This dude was like baseball royalty. I mean, so one of my Tommy Lasorda moments is, do you remember when he tried to pick a fight with Pedro Martinez?
Yes.
And Pedro's like, what do I do? What do I do? The guy's coming at him. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? And Pedro just kind of moves him out of the way. Tommy goes tumbling down. Because what are you supposed to? You're not supposed to hit the old man.
No, you can't. He's in a no-win. Honestly, Pedro's in a no-win situation there, man.
Yes, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man! Baseball was awesome back then.
Dude, I always felt, and I saw an interview with Tommy. He was talking about this is back before microphones were as good as they are now. But he would go out there and he needed to rally his team, and he would go out to the umpire. He's kicking dirt on his shoes and stuff. And he told us, he said in the interview, he gave one of the conversations that he was having with the guy. And the guy's he's talking about where he's going for dinner that night or something. But he was throwing his arms in the air and he was throwing his stuff. Like, I gotta get these guys fired up. And everyone is thinking he's arguing a call, but he's not arguing the call. He's just getting himself thrown out of the game because he's trying to get his team fired up.
Yeah, Joe Madden was good at that too.
Yeah. So.
Oh, he wouldn't be like disrespect. He would just be like, throw me out. I'm out here.
I don't think he was even asking to be thrown out. He just knew he was going to get thrown out. So he's out there just, ranting about anything. Right. He's like, man, I had a steak last night. It was really good. And I'm going to knock this on your shoes. And just, just ranting. But you didn't know what he was angry. You just assumed it was about the game. But Tommy knew the call was right. But, he also knows that he needed his guys. They were in a slump or whatever. And he's like, here I go. Let me get them.
The old motivation.
Yeah.
Get thrown out and motivate the team.
Yep.
Yep.
So.
Well, rest in peace.
Yeah.
One of baseball's royalty. Guys, anything else you want to cover?
Nope. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Should be a good game. Go Bama. Roll Tide.
Yeah, that'll be the only thing on tomorrow night. This, not for nothing, if that game is anywhere near what it should be, this has been a terrific 3 days of football. Yesterday the games were great. The games today were really good. I love that Tennessee and Baltimore game.
Mm-hmm.
So we got one more game tonight, and then one more game tomorrow night.
The Tennessee and Baltimore game was perfect to take a nap to, by the way.
Oh, but it was a good game, though.
It was a perfect. But game tonight, I'm interested in the game tonight. Everyone's talking about, no head coach, COVID, and blah, blah, blah.
I do want to see how the Browns react to not having any coaches.
Look, he's got coaches. I mean, the guys, he's a phone call away, or more than likely, they got him set up on Zoom or something, I mean, just.
And honestly, what are you going to coach at this point, right? So you're scheme, you're going to scheme, but you just played this team last week.
Is TSG alive? What happened to him?
Oh, no,
he's out.
There you go.
I had some internet problems over here.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Wow.
At least you got frozen with a quality, mugshot there.
Yeah. Oh, was it bad?
It was real bad.
Those can be bad sometimes.
He may have had a stroke.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, so the Tennessee, when you're talking about the Tennessee game, that interception at the end,
Yeah.
if you look, I went back and I looked at it. I found it on YouTube, and that was pass interference. That DB was standing behind him. He ran into that. I know they said he slipped and fell, but what happened was that guy hit him first, knocked him up. He stepped on the guy's foot, and then he fell. But I'll send you guys the link. You can see. I was telling my wife, I go, that was pass interference. You can see clearly where the guy banged him up, and then he fell.
Don't send it to me. I can't take any more conspiracy theories this week, man. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm out.
I'm telling you, you can. It's for real though.
A woman to that. All right.
That's the best line of the night right there. Good job.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this thing up, man.
That's going to do it for us. We hit an hour. We had a great time, obviously, because we're leaving laughing. Looks like we're going to leave Javi in the lurch here. He's got some questions that we're not going to be able to get to, and he keeps texting me about them. Anyway, so we're going to do this pre-recorded and release it live. No, we'll release it. We'll release it next Sunday. I don't know if we'll release it during the Bucs game because obviously we want you to enjoy the Bucs game, beating the Saints. Something will happen. Stay tuned, which is why it's important to subscribe and click the bell down there. That bell, when we release the video, it notifies you and says, hey, go watch the man event. You're not doing anything anyway. Go see what they're doing. All right. Love you guys. Amen. A woman. A moron. Good night.
Good night.
Later.